I am fully aware that there are twigs and leaves in frame, and you can also probably see the business going on here because this shirt leaves very little to the imagination. Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Katie, otherwise known as the Vintage Academic. I'm a graduate student at Parsons School of Design in their Fashion Studies program. Today I am in the beautiful redwoods of Mendocino, and you are probably going to hear birds and wind and people and music because I'm currently at a community retreat that my family used to go on every year, and we stopped going when my dad died. It's been about 12 years since I have been here, which is absolutely bonkers to me. The last time I was in these redwoods, I was still a teenager. I was 16. I wanted to take the opportunity, without cell service, without work, without school, without interruption, to try to get back into filming for the sake of enjoying filming, to talk a little bit about where I'm at in life currently, which feels really awkward to do because I haven't really filmed a video where I talked about myself and my life and what I'm thinking in a really long time, and I have a little bit of like imposter syndrome feelings going on in my head about, why does my life matter? Who cares? Why would anybody watch this? But I originally started this channel because I liked to do it, so I'm trying to return to that a little bit. Let's see what I had written down. Kind of want to explain why I'm in California and why I haven't been uploading YouTube videos, talking about identity and what I want out of life and what my thoughts are moving forward from this point in my life. I wrote down a lot of what I wanted to talk about when I was in a really low space, and I've only been here for like 2.5 days, and I have yet to experience a negative emotion. I feel very safe and secure, and like I've gone home a little bit, and I feel very cared for and supported by my community. So I have a hard time drawing up the things that I wanted to talk about that were negative when I'm in a better space, but just wanted to talk and catch up and chat and recap this last semester a little bit and talk about why it sucked so much. But hopefully it won't be an entire downer. I want to show you guys the beautiful redwoods. It's a little bit windy right now. This is the kind of reflection video that I like to think I'm good at in theory, but I'm never good at in practice. So I'm going to try my hand at doing a little bit of a more artistic, artsy, like video diary of sorts, if you will. For now, I'm going to take my me-made outfit. Hello, Regency shirt, a little western skirt action going on here. Very proud of myself. And I'm gonna go down to the creek and splash around in the water a little bit before I go back into camp. I just really wanted to catch up and explain what's been going on and be more myself and more honest, which are two things I'm not very good at. But if there's any place to be myself, it's here. So, cheers. I don't know if you can hear it, but there's like people laughing and kids screaming and someone's playing the recorder, and it's just, I'm very happy right now. Okay, let's go explore. Just lay here all day and watch the trees move in the breeze and listen to the babbling brook and the kids laughing and the music playing. I could get used to this. I think this is how all people should live. It's a good life. I am sorry if this is a bit of a weird intro and definitely not my typical content. I apologize for that. If you clicked on this video expecting like New York academic girly vlogs, you are probably going to be disappointed. I just needed to make this video, I think, for myself. And before I procrastinate it any longer, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and dive right in and tell you guys like what's going on. The place to start is to talk about why I'm in California, because yes, obviously I'm from California and my mom still lives here and I'm currently camping in the California redwoods. But I've been in California for like 2 months, 2.5-ish months, and I'm going to be here for like a grand total of almost 3 months because this semester, the spring semester of 2023 at Parsons, was horrible. For a lot of reasons. And it's not necessarily the academics, but I didn't have a very good time with my academics because of everything else that was going on behind the scenes. My anxiety was at an all-time high. My depression was at an all-time low. It really impacted my ability to engage in my academics in the way I would have wanted. I had the worst panic attack of my life this last semester. And while I know that like running away from the place where those kinds of things happen is like not typically the answer, I really missed California. I really missed my family and I really missed the support system that I have out here. So we were coming, James and I, my fiance, were coming to California in May after I finished the semester anyways, so he could go to his graduation at Sac State. Go James! And I decided to extend my stay and just stay in California and then come to this beautiful community retreat that my family used to go on in July. So I started in May and I'm staying through the end of July and then I'm going home. I just needed to go home. I needed to be with my family. I needed to be in a place that I'm comfortable and familiar with, and I desperately wanted to come to this retreat because oh, there's a raven. There's a group of ravens like gallivanting around the campsite this year. They are noisy as fuck and they wake me up every morning, but I'm so excited to see them because I've never seen a raven in real life, so I am delighted by their presence. What was I saying? Part of what we talk about is like returning to home, returning to your soul, returning to yourself, returning to your community, and how important those things are for filling your cup. I think the problem that I've had is that I am trying to do too much in order to prove myself in some kind of way. I think largely because I have maybe fallen victim a little bit to the comparison game when it comes to things like social media and academics, which I feel a little shameful admitting because I want to pretend like I'm a person who doesn't care about those things, doesn't, use those things to judge my self-worth. But when you exist in this online space and you exist in the academic world, your output and your productivity and how good your output is and basically what you can manage to produce is what you are judged by. And not only was I in the social media space, but I was also working in social media content creation professionally. And I got so burnt out. And I really mean the word burnout, not in the I am tired of doing the same thing over and over again, but I mean in the clinical depression, my therapist even called it PTSD-like type burnout. I was doing too much. I was comparing myself too much. I was pushing myself too hard. I wasn't accommodating my ADHD. And there were a lot of other things going on, like financial insecurity and James not being able to find a job, and it was just a lot happening all at once. And I do feel like some of this is maybe not my fault, but definitely something that I need to work on, because I don't think I have a very strong sense of identity, and because of that I let myself get wrapped up in other people and the way that other people think and the things that other people think are good and right. So I know that there are some people who think that going and doing hard things and getting outside of your comfort zone is the good and right way to exist and live, and I don't think that there's anything wrong with those things. I think that that's definitely something we should do from time to time, but I also think it's important to have a home to come to when you need it, regardless of what that looks like. If home is your parents' house, if home is your best friend's house, if home is the middle of the redwoods forest with your community, I think it's a really important thing to have. You need to have a comfort zone where you have safety and security and stability in order to feel safe and secure stepping outside of your comfort zone. And I have denied myself the safety and security of home for a very long time because I thought that I was afraid that by doing so, I would not be successful, that I wasn't taking enough risks, that I was doing something wrong, because I've compared myself to the way that other people do take risks and don't really have a home base to return to. And I hope that this is all making sense. I know it seems a little abstract, but you know, for the sake of privacy, there are just some things that I don't want to be explicit about. But yeah, I have run out of words for this moment in time, so I'm going to go explore the creek some more and I'll check back in with you guys later. I guarantee you guys that by the end of the week, you're gonna be sick and tired of seeing an upshot of the redwood trees. But you know what? I will never get sick of it, so. As you can tell, I am back in the outfit that I was in yesterday. I want to take some photos in the woods. Mission mostly accomplished. And now I'm taking a little hike up on the hill that follows the creek because I'm really tired today and a little over socialized, so I wanted to be alone in the forest and have the chance to catch you guys up on my thoughts, talk about the next subject, which is burnout. Fun. So let's go walking and find a place to sit. Okay, so I don't remember where I left off yesterday, and it's probably confusing because I'm wearing the same outfit as yesterday, and there are mosquitoes flying around my face. Oh god, why had I come to the water? But basically I want to talk about burnout and what burnout feels like, but I'm just gonna get started. My problem with the word burnout is that it has been used so casually and colloquially to mean like an extreme feeling of fatigue that I don't really like using the word anymore to describe a complete and utter chronic overworked like state of being that results in, like my therapist said, a PTSD like reaction. Burning out, at least the way that I have, has felt like utter exhaustion, fatigue, a little bit of depression in that I have no interest in doing pretty much anything anymore. I lack a creative energy that I have almost always felt as just an intrinsic part of me. Burnout feels traumatic, like actually traumatic, like having a lot of anxiety and depression and a lack of creativity and a fatigue and aches and pains. Like it's not like a fun colloquial, oh, I'm just feeling a little burnt out today. Like no, it is actually a result of prolonged stress, prolonged chronic stress. And for me, that came from unstable finances this last semester, a stressful work environment, and the expectations of being a graduate student and needing to do well. And the thing is, you guys, at least hopefully by now know that I was diagnosed with ADHD in 2021, and I have the inattentive type, which basically just means that my brain never shuts up. There's always something going on up here. There's always chatter. It is always noisy. There's something happening. And I think it's one of the things that makes me the creative person that I am. And I think, quite frankly, the intelligent person that I am. There's always something going on up here, thinking and abstracting and concluding and creating and all that kind of stuff. But in the last couple of months, towards the end of the semester, maybe like after midterms really, it started to go quiet in my head in a way that I had never experienced before. I didn't have anything to say. I didn't have any ideas about what to write about for school. I was starting to struggle in delivering what I needed to deliver for work because I was in a creative role. I just felt like I had poured so much of myself and energy into all the things that I was attempting to do, and it was just too much. The thing about this is that I am not blaming myself. I do not think I was asking too much for myself. I do think that there were external factors that went into play in this that I have removed myself from, but nonetheless, I was doing too much and I burned out. I think obviously because I'm vlogging and putting in some creative energy into something, I must be feeling a little bit better. So that is what I want to talk about next, what I have done to feel a little bit better and what I am still doing on the road to being better. It's my third cup of tea today. By the end of this week, I'm gonna be known as like the tea lady because I brought my own loose leaf tea, sharing my tea strainer with other campers and walking around with a mug constantly. Or left? I say right. It's a few months later, and I'm home now. I'm not in California anymore. We're back on the East Coast, gearing up for my last year of grad school. Left California, I've come back to the East Coast. I've been reunited with my fiance, and I've seen my really good school friends. I've met new people. I've readjusted to the city, and I've started to find some joy in the things that I like to do again, like my research and my thesis and school, as well as content creation. But I guess let's talk a little bit about how I got there. I accepted some hard truths, like I simply can't right now, and that was the truth over the summer. I didn't post a YouTube video for months over the summer. I simply just could not, and forcing myself to try and do it was making me miserable. So I stopped, taking a lot of time to do nothing. I did a lot of nothing over the summer. I literally just laid on my mom's couch for like an entire day sometimes. Or just like doing the small little nothings that you don't have time for when you're in graduate school, and working multiple jobs like hand sewing a corset just because I could. So, re-engaged in old hobbies I've not allowed myself because of time, sewing, reading for fun, video games, etc. Returning to home, community, friends, and familiarity. And this was actually something that was part of the camp that I went to in the Redwoods. There was this kind of community discussion about returning and the healing effect that returning to places and people and communities that are important to you, that have really served a role in your life, can have, especially when you're having a difficult time in life. Returning to those things that have supported you time and again. Oh no, they're starting to play their music. My neighbors will sit in the alleyway right outside my window and play music loudly all day, every day. So we will return to this when they are done with that. I know that I've been holding some kind of beverage in almost every single clip of this video, but that's just the life of a fun beverage girly. I cannot physically survive if I do not have a fun little beverage in my hand. And I don't even mean alcoholic, it's usually tea. So my neighbors have finally decided to turn off their music and return indoors. It is many hours later, but let us continue. The next thing I was going to say is that I've been going to therapy. I've been going to therapy all last semester. A little bit before that, it doesn't matter. I've been going to therapy. I've been going to therapy the entire time I've been going through the stuff that made me write this video and decide to film this video, which wasn't my original intention in going to therapy, but the support that my therapist has provided me while going through a tough situation is honestly invaluable, so I recommend, if it is something accessible to you, to take advantage of that. The last thing I really want to talk about what I did to feel better, is a really important one, and it's actually restructuring your life. So I would classify what I've experienced as just like a very bad burnout. Like if I thought I knew what burnout felt like before, I was completely wrong. This was burnout. And the thing about burnout, you ever hear of that definition of insanity? It's like doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. The same is kind of true with burnout. You can't go back to the way things were and expect to not burn out again, because those are the conditions under which you burnt out. So if you don't want to burn out again, you have to restructure your life, which is the part that people don't necessarily talk about. Usually it's, you've burnt out, you need rest. And so they talk about resting and don't talk about the part that happens afterwards, which is making the changes that you need to live a more sustainable life. Now, I'm not saying that I've necessarily mastered this. I'm still very much in the process of trying to figure out ways to more sustainably approach living life with ADHD, which is a disability. Like, as much as people want to say that ADHD and the hyper focus and the passion and all that kind of stuff about ADHD is a superpower, at the end of the day, it can actually be a pretty debilitating disability, and no one likes to look at it that way. So I'm still trying to figure out how to navigate life with accepting the fact that I have a disability and kind of shifting my attitude towards that. Included in that is that I have stepped back from the multiple jobs that I've worked for the last few years, because I've had like 1 to 3 jobs since I graduated high school. Last semester I was working 3 jobs while also doing the content creation and having probably one of the most intense academic semesters of my life, and I do not want to do that again. Maybe never, but mostly because I am going into writing my thesis and I want to give my research thesis the care and attention it deserves, and I simply could not do that with 3 jobs. So I've stepped back from a few of them. Entirely respect that that is a privilege. I luckily have a partner who also works and has some income, and even though I've stepped back from those jobs, I did take on a teaching assistant position, so I am still making income from the university, and then I also get my student loans, which cover a large majority of my living costs. So it has definitely been a privilege to have access to these jobs and sources of funding, but nevertheless, I have vastly reduced the amount of hours that I work in a given week. Because like I said, I was overworked. That was one of the problems. And so that brings me to the last section of this video, which is the future of this channel, which I know sounds ever so dramatic for a small channel like this. I am not entirely certain that anybody but me cares about the future of my YouTube channel. We're getting over the insecurities of being vulnerable, okay? We're talking about these things. The plan that I wrote down was I was going to get through the content I've already filmed. I've done the majority of that except for this video, which I needed to finish filming. And then I was going to really cut back on the amount of content that I make on the regular. I was planning on moving to just vlogs, which is another reason why I was angry when I wrote this, because the desire is there. I have ideas to make a lot of videos that I think would be really helpful, informative content that I haven't had the time, energy, motivation to make, but I don't want to burn out again. So I'm going to limit myself to mostly vlogs and attempting to make the other informational videos as I can. And I've also agreed to work with my partner on editing my YouTube videos, which is like letting go of some control, which I'm not entirely sure I'm excited for, but he very kindly offered to take some of the work off my shoulders to help me get back to making content. There else light again, oh my god. Being a content creator in a big city is not always fun. Where was I gonna go from there? I don't remember. This video has been months in the making. I've thought about it a lot. I've obviously been filming it over multiple months, and it has been a great source of anxiety for me. I couldn't go back to normal and the way things were without kind of explaining, thinking through what's been happening behind the scenes, I guess. So I really appreciate it if you made it this far. I'm sure this was a long video. I don't really know where to go from here, but thank you for sticking around, and I'm heading into the last year of my master's degree where I will be writing my thesis, which is such a massive deal to me that I am actually really excited to get to share with my audience, because finally, after a summer of being so tired and exhausted and burnt out and sad and grieving, I have ideas again, I have excitement again. My thesis is starting to head in a direction I'm really looking forward to, so that is what I'm going to vlog for the rest of my time at Parsons. Stay tuned for that if you're interested in what it's like to write a master's thesis, and thank you guys for, always being around. You've been with me from when I was a community college student facing the pandemic, to my transfer, to Berkeley, to graduation, to here, and I'm really excited to get to share this last part of my educational journey with you. Until I do a PhD, that is. Bye.